Got bad news for you. Bad news, online outdoorsman. It's been raining all night. It's raining all weekend. And it's cold outside. So I'm not going to be able to get out and do some sort of fun adventure. So today I've actually got something else I'd like to talk to you about. And it's about kayak fishing. So stay tuned because we're about ready to get into it. Alright, online outdoorsmen. Like I said, today we're going to talk about kayak fishing. But what we're going to talk about in particular is what you should know before buying a fishing kayak. And when I say fishing kayak, I'm talking about the big sit on top, usually, sometimes they're sit inside, but generally sit on top, large kayaks that are built for fishing. And there's a few things since purchasing my own that I've realized probably needs to be communicated to people before they just go out and buy one. Now, I don't have that much buyer's remorse with this bad boy because frankly, it is very fun to fish out of. But there have been a few things that I didn't necessarily think about before purchasing it. So let's get into those. You know, why not sit in the kayak while I talk about this? First off, let's talk about what kind of kayak I actually own. This one happens to be a feel-free Lure 11.5, meaning it's 11.5 feet, and it's made by Feel Free Kayaks. It's a nice kayak. It cost me a fair amount of money, and frankly, it's very comfortable to sit in and fish throughout the day. So that's a pro. But as you can see, let's talk about the first thing you should know about these things. They take up a lot of space, and if you're like me, living in a single one-bedroom apartment, you don't have a lot of space. And so I could spend more money per month getting a garage to put this in, but being the young bachelor that I am, I figure I'll be okay just leaving it in my living room. But that would be one thing to consider. Now, the other thing to consider is actually kind of similar to the size. It's actually the weight. And that would be the number one thing, in my opinion, that people might kind of disregard. Now, this affects a lot of numerous factors, really. With weight, you're going to have to put it either in the back of a pickup, on a trailer, or on top of your vehicle. So if you're like me, you put it on top of your vehicle. So you need roof racks, which could cost you more money if you don't already have them. But to put it on the top of a vehicle when this is about 75 pounds, by yourself, let alone taking it off as well, can be a bit of a struggle, we'll say. And I may have put a couple scratches in my vehicle trying to do it. Now, I have found a way that works pretty well for me, and that's, if you watched my New Year's Eve fishing video, you saw that I had a big orange piece of material that I put on my vehicle. I actually just bought it at Walmart. It's kind of like a fleece type material, and I just push it up on that. That way I kind of reduce the amount that I could scratch my vehicle. I don't think I've really even scratched it since using that, so that has helped a lot. But that does not take away the fact that this is 75 pounds, and trying to horse it up on top of a vehicle by yourself is not easy. It's not easy at all, especially if you're lanky like me. Now, if you're a bodybuilder, it might not be a problem, but it would be one thing to consider if you're not. You know, another thing that I'd like to consider before purchasing a fishing kayak is, realistically, how much am I going to use the thing? Me, personally, I probably don't get my money's worth out of this. And that's something I should probably change and work harder on, is actually getting out and utilizing the fact that I have a very nice kayak more often. But that would be something to consider before purchasing a kayak. If you're only going to go out, less than 5 times a year, less than 10 times a year, is it really worth spending $1,000 or more on a kayak similar to this to get out and try to catch fish? Or could you go with a lower option that may not be as comfortable to fish in all day, saving money for other things, and then also with that having a much lighter, easier to carry kayak? And with that, I guess another thing I would think about is what kind of bodies of water are you going to fish? Are you going to fish lakes? In which case this might be a good option for you. But maybe you're going to fish more rivers, streams, and creeks, in which case this one is actually not a very good option unless you have the logistics to float a deeper river and then have someone else pick you up at another place further down the river. But if you're going in a creek, like I did on my New Year's Eve video, or it was a river, but it was a very shallow river, this was not a very good kayak for that. It didn't make a lot of sense. If I would have had about a 40-pounder that was a sit inside, I could have thrown it over my shoulder and kept moving up, and then fished a lot more, and it would have been a lot easier. Now it would have been less fishable. It would have been harder to keep your position. You can't stand in such kayaks. You can't carry as much tackle, but it's just way more portable, I guess. So those are a few of the things that I would consider before going out and buying a fishing kayak. Now, I don't want to discourage any of you that are thinking about buying a fishing kayak, because believe me, these are fun. This one has been a lot of fun, and I've caught some pretty big fish in it. Probably haven't caught as many fish in it as I'd like to, but still got it. It's very stable, it's sturdy, it's going to last a long time, and I imagine I'll probably get out there and catch some more fish here soon with it. Either way though, if you have any questions about kayak fishing, I may not be the best guy in the world to ask, but I think I've got a few decent opinions. So go ahead and drop a comment below if you got a question. Otherwise, if you haven't already, click subscribe. P.S. The lighting in that video was not the best, so my apologies, but if you want to know more about my Feel Free Lure 11.5, I'd be happy to do a follow-up video explaining some of the features and what I do and don't like about the kayak. Just leave a comment below if that is the case.